Welcome aboard. Election night. First time. No. Let me start the right way here. It is not election night, y'all. Today was not an open election. It was a closed party primary for the Senate race. Election night for a number of other things, though, and we're going to break it all down for you. Brian Haldane here with you. We got Cade Wazan, producer tonight, and we've got Anna Johnson sitting with us for the next 2 hours as well. Good evening, Anna. How are you?
Oh, anxious like everybody else.
Wait. Say it again. You weren't up yet. Go ahead.
Anxious like everybody else.
I mean, why are we all on edge right now?
Like
because nothing is final after tonight. There's a runoff a month from now, and then a real election in November. And yet, for some reason, this particular day feels unbelievably tense.
It does. But I mean, I feel like this is the run before the run. You know, like This is the practice round. So I think this is going to be a good beta test for where we go.
Okay, it's the practice round.
It is.
But we're playing with live ammo.
Ooh.
And I think that's why we're all so nervous right now. Everybody went to the polls to vote for their preferred candidate within their party in Senate. And I have gotten, and this is where we're going to start tonight, by the way. We're not getting the results in the first segment at all. This is where we're going to start tonight. I have gotten numerous reports back to me personally, anecdotally, via social media. I have heard from so many people out there who have had problems with the process today, who have gone into polls and been told things like, no, if you're an independent, you can only vote for the amendments, which is wrong.
Yes. I've seen a lot of that on social media, but, you know, I don't know that we did a good job of maybe explaining it. Maybe the poll workers didn't even know.
That second part is, I think, where I'm at. I don't think all the poll workers knew, because I will say this, proud dad moment to start off. Daughter's home from Southern Miss. Today was the first election she's ever voted in.
I love it.
I know. And then she got so mad at me when I took a picture, so I did not post said picture.
You didn't do the proud dad thing?
She got a round of applause from the poll workers. And I can tell you the poll workers in my particular precinct said, because when she registered to vote, she signed up as no party.
I love it.
Knowing we had closed primaries coming. And they handed over the little sheet, and they said, you need to choose Republican, Democrat, or just amendments.
So
she looked at me, and
election was chaos.
Yes. But she looked over at me. I said, take the Republican one, please. and from there,
don't embarrass me.
But no, she had the same look on her face.
I love it.
Yeah. So, but from there, it was nice and simple. Our poll workers kept it simple. They said it's a Republican ballot, a Democrat ballot, or an amendments only ballot.
I love it.
And but it wasn't thorough. It wasn't consistent apparently across the board.
I think people thought that when they checked in that, you know, you just check in, and then whenever you get to your actual polling station, it's just going to have the ballot on there that you're registered for. And so I don't know. I feel like this whole paper, when you check in, chaos is what was tying everybody up. But I mean, look, it was a learning curve for everybody, including the poll workers. So,
that's where my question comes in, though, is there a way that we could have worked this out without having a live election on the line? Without knowing, because somebody's going down in the Senate race tonight.
Oh.
2 are going to move forward to June. 1's going home, packing it up. And how many votes are going to get missed along the way? And how many would it take to get a mulligan on this thing? If we find out that it's a lot more rampant than you and I are thinking right now, if we find out that it's not in the teens or the hundreds, maybe it's in the thousands of votes.
Yeah.
If we find that out, do we get a do-over? Like, if that's constitutionally impossible.
I don't know. We've seen crazier things in this state, so I would not discount anything at this point. But I mean, look, the truth of the matter is that if you show up to vote, you waited in that line, your vote counts. That's all that matters. So unless you showed up today, or unless you early voted, like, stop complaining on social media. We are tired of the keyboard warriors. Like, just get out and vote. So, but look, whoever wins or loses tonight, somebody's going to use that excuse. And so, look, just expect it. I just expect it at this point.
Yes, same. And to the people who are like, I'm a libertarian, I didn't get to vote at all, because it's not election day.
Right.
You're a libertarian, you go vote for the amendments. You'll get to vote for your libertarian candidate or whomever you like come November. This was a closed party primary.
Yep.
I don't know how to say it. I don't know if Nancy Landry could have said it 1,000 more times, 10,000 more times. She was on the show. No lie, monthly. And she was on Moon's show
Well, and our
At least.
legislators have been saying that all over their social media. So, I mean, at this point, if you don't know, you know what? It's kind of on you.
Well, yeah, there's a certain point where you have to say you can lead a horse to water, but you still have to hit it with a brick.
Exactly. Hit it with a brick.
All right, results are going to start coming in. In fact, they're already starting to come in real soon.
Rolling in.
I have not refreshed anything. We're going to get to our first break in just a minute, but can you give us a quick preview, Anna, of what's up already?
Well, we are starting to see some votes roll in for the U.S. Senator race.
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming these are all early voting numbers. No precincts are reporting yet.
Yeah, well, you got a few, but I mean, you've got Julia Letlow in the lead currently for the Republican Party, and then Jamie Davis is in the lead for the Democratic Party. So these numbers are about what I expected. Let me flip over this. I feel like this one. Let me look at these amendments and kind of see how they're doing. I saw that Democrat turnout for early voting was really high.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. However, are you seeing what I'm seeing? I'm glad you noted the Democratic turnout was very high. In the early voting, because as of right now, 22,787 votes have been counted for the Democratic Senate candidate and 35,805 for the Republican Senate candidates. So even with the turnout being Democrat heavy, we're still seeing Republican heavy very, very early on.
Yeah.
All right. Amendments. Let's get to them, and then we'll take a quick break. And I will. We're gonna have a ton of guests for you coming up throughout the night. We're gonna talk with Moon Griffon at some point. Zach Kilshaw is going to join us. He is a political strategist and political consultant. Corey Dennis from the State Republican Party is going to join us in the second hour tonight. So we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to rock and roll. Give us what we're looking at right now for amendments before we hit our first break.
Ooh, it's looking like a no across the board. Yep. There are a couple that could maybe go yes. It looks like Amendment 3 is kind of teetering between 49 and 51%.
Yep.
Amendment 2 is 44-56. I mean, I don't know that one flips, but
so it's going to be important to see where those right now 29 of 64 parishes have gotten their early voting in.
Yeah.
And only one of 3,700 precincts are reported. So that's way wild right there.
Yeah.
Looking at the numbers on the amendments, Amendment 1 is a 75-25 no at this point, but we're only talking about 61,000 votes being counted so far. Same rough number of votes on all the amendments. So early on, we got about half of the early votes in and absentee votes in. We've got just a handful of, well, not even a handful. We got like a fingerful of precincts reporting. So here's how it's breaking down right now. 75-25 no on Amendment 1. That one is about the removal of positions for unclassified versus classified state employees.
Yeah.
Amendment 2 is your St. George School District. That's at 55-45 right now. We're looking at a 50-50 split, just a difference of 340 votes. No is winning on Amendment 3 right now by a difference of 340 votes, but that is a super duper close one. Amendment 3, if you're scoring at home, is the pay raise for teachers. Amendment 4 is a 62-38 no right now. That's the inventory tax that I'm going to give you a quick minute to just explain why that one is important.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I've been talking about this one all day long. So the inventory tax. Let's say you are a grocery store owner in a parish. You have items sitting on your shelves, your inventory, and because you have inventory sitting on a shelf, you have to pay a tax on that. And so because of that, now you have to increase the price of the goods sitting on your shelf to offset the tax that you have to pay to this parish. And it restricts you from doing things like expanding what's on your shelf or maybe hiring more employees or maybe doubling their wages, things like that. So what this amendment does is if you vote yes, the inventory tax does not go away. So let me say that part again. The inventory tax does not go away.
However,
what it does is it gives the parish the opportunity to opt out of it or lower it or eventually phase it out over time. And so this is just one of those things that removes this tax from the Constitution and puts it in the hands of local governments because they know their budget's better. And so this is obviously a burdensome tax. I think we are one of 9 states that even have it. And so, when businesses are looking to come here or even expand, we're automatically at a deficit when they're looking at other states because we have this tax. And so this just gives the opportunity for parishes to opt out of this tax.
To get themselves in the game.
Correct.
Absolutely. All right, we're due up for our first break. It's 8:15. We are going to be with you until 10 p.m. tonight. We're keeping an eye on the Senate race, of course. That is going to be first and foremost. Want to get some harder numbers in before we really lean in on that. Keeping an eye on the Senate race, keeping an eye on the 5 different constitutional amendments that are on your ballot. When we come back, let's take an early look at some of the other races that are out there. PSC is up for grabs. There's some judges' seats that are up for grabs. We will break that down next. And to go along with that, I'm going to be checking in with a cast of characters as we carry on. You are listening to Talk 107.3's Election Day coverage. I almost Luca Brazzi it and said, you're listening to Talk 107.3's election coverage on Talk 107.3. That would have been so dumb.
Oh, come on, Julia. We need you to get to 50 so we don't have to do this runoff.
You want to remain on Facebook during the break?
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh,
Go ahead.
these amendments.
Share the Facebook Live.
Yes, that's what I'm doing.
And Deborah says hello.
Oh,
You knew Deborah Todd would be the first one in the building, right?
love her.
She was.
She is a little spitfire.
She was. She was posting earlier. She mentioned me in a post earlier about doing the show tonight. She's like, "We need good, local election coverage." I'm like, I don't want to get your hopes up. I'm not that good. Hey, by the way, that comment does not make the LAB package. Oh, should we bring in all the trophies? Would that be a flex? 6. Just try to see me and Anna through all of them, like looking through a picket fence.
You should get a bat from Lobby. We should give you a bat.
You think?
You know what's crazy? You know what I'm gonna do? Will Green did this to me one time, but so they'd ordered some bats one year, and like there were like a handful of them that had like the legislator's name like misspelled. And so they had him in a room somewhere. And I remember like complaining to him one time. I was like, I want a bat. How come I don't get a bat? Why didn't I get a bat for being economic development partner of the year last year? So he gave me one of the legislators that had the name misspelled.
It's like
thanks.
6. Was it like 6 L's in ILG?
Yeah, exactly. Thanks. Love you, Will.
They get them made from like Marucci or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is Marucci.
I just texted Moon to see if we can hop on here. Do you want to be on with the guests, or do you want to hang back while I've got guests?
Who were the guests?
Got Moon.
You have extra headphones?
Yeah, I got her a pair of headphones right there. She just got to plug them in and put them on. Yeah.
Maybe when Killshaw comes on.
Okay.
I am honestly surprised.
I said, can you call him? Well, I just texted, said, can you hop on here?
Do you want me to call him?
So,
Let me get back in a second.
yeah.
Is he home now?
Yeah. Can you pull up the Supreme Court races?
Yes.
Thank you.
Let's see. Supreme Court. We've got Billy Burris at 54% and Blair at 46%.
Blair?
Blair.
Oh, thank you.
PSC is really close. John Young, 26. Mark Wright, 25. Stephanie's at 23.
Go Vote's going to have it. They got all of them. You just got to flip to the different list. Parish.
So,
EBR. See, even Voice Guy got it right. Shout out Neil. Closed primary election. You are listening to Talk 107.3's closed primary election coverage as we are bringing you results throughout the evening tonight. Going to take a look at as many different races as we can throughout the night. There are a number of races that we're just not going to have numbers on just yet. For example, things going on here in Baton Rouge. We don't have anything there yet. I do want your feedback, though. We're live on Facebook every single day during my show, and now we're live on Facebook tonight for this show as well. I want your feedback on what we were talking about in the first segment. Did it happen to you? Are you a no party person, independent? And what was your experience when you went to the polls? Easy breezy, or did you run into a whole bunch of problems? Sue?
We want to know about amendments too. Why'd you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Why would you vote against the St. George school system?
So, in fact, the very first comment on our Facebook Live is RIP St. George Wallace. Well, first of all, Donald, St. George was a 3rd century Roman soldier and he didn't have a last name. So that's not accurate. But secondly, the folks that are voting against St. George are the same people that have been against St. George from the beginning. They don't want to lose their money. They have money that goes to the EBR school system that is on the backs of the folks that are in St. George.
Yeah.
And 15 years ago, when St. George was told as the independent Southeast East Baton Rouge school district that was proposed, they were told if you want a school district, you have to form a city. So you know what they did? They formed a city. So now, if you're a no vote on Amendment 2, basically what you're saying is your word didn't matter.
Right.
Or, no, not your word, Sharon Weston Broom's word, because it was her who was the state senator at the time that said that.
Yeah.
So-
Well, somebody asked me today about this one on Facebook, and it's crazy. I don't live in St. George, so I don't have a dog in this fight and I don't have kids. So, but I'm like, the people voted on the city and give them their school district.
Right.
But the craziest part, and I keep having to explain this to people, is that the whole state gets to vote on this. So you've got people from North Louisiana don't even know the story of St. George who get to vote on this. But this is just, this leads down a whole other, runway of problems with the Constitution and why we should be having a constitutional convention. So,
well, and that's going to bring us, that's going to be the biggest,
I know
that is going to be
this
the
opens
biggest
some-
topic of the year 2027
Me.
in the state of Louisiana.
And it
Is what's
should
going to happen in
be.
2028. We
It
got
should
Moon.
be.
Okay. Moon Griffon is on with us. You catch him weekdays 9 to noon statewide. How are you, brother?
Man, doing great. How y'all doing?
Doing very well tonight. I mean, it's still early. We don't have a whole lot of returns just yet, but walk me through a little bit about what you've been hearing on Election Day.
Well, I just, they were saying the turnout was going to be 25, 28%, which is about what I thought. Brian, it's hard to tell. Everybody thinks they know what's going to happen, but today is the real poll. Today we find out what people think about this election.
Absolutely.
Did dark money win out? Everybody talks about they hate negative ads. Well, the whole campaigns have been about negative ads. I still think Senator Cassidy has a problem winning. Whether he gets in a runoff tonight, we're going to find out because, you still got to have money to run these elections.
Mm-hmm.
Bill had all the money, and then Letlow started raising a lot of money with the help of the governor. And then John didn't raise a whole lot of money. So I'm going to see at the end of the night if money talks more than anything else, because that may be what happens. But we got to wait and see. All the votes in now, and the real poll is happening right now.
No, absolutely. And when you look at all the polls, and everybody's had their polls, every other week or so. And the person I always look at is who finishes second, right? If you're second in John Fleming's poll, and you're second in let's say you're Bill Cassidy. If you're second in Fleming's poll and second in Letlow's poll, you're probably feeling pretty good because you expect Fleming to win his poll and Letlow to win her poll. If you're Julia Letlow, same thing, but with the other two candidates. So I'm always looking for who finishes second, and that is who that the other candidates are on the lookout for. Had Senator Cassidy on the show with me, I believe it was Wednesday or Thursday. I'm going to get lost in the week because it was a long week. But had Senator Cassidy on the show with me, and I could tell you, Moon, he was completely dismissive of the Fleming. When I asked about opponents, he was more dismissive about John Fleming's candidacy than he was Julia Letlow's. In fact, at one point during the interview, Senator Cassidy, God bless him for saying this in the middle of a race, but he says, I actually feel bad for the attacks that John Fleming's getting right now. Well, it tells me that Bill Cassidy's on the lookout for an up-and-coming Julia Letlow a lot more than he's worried about Fleming.
Well, I told you, I think that's based on just pure money.
Right.
If John Fleming had $10 million and a pack out there with $10 million, he probably wouldn't feel that way. But they know that money talks and everybody else walks. I mean, advertisement matters, putting your voice out there matters, and it does. And these people know. My wife always laughs. She said she'll look at a race, they tell me who's got the most money, and she'll say they'll win. If they don't, they'll come in second, and the second person with the most money will win. That happens. Money is the milk of politics, period. And so
100%.
I think what you're seeing in the Senate, if it does, it depends on how it unfolds still, is that if Cassidy and Letlow in a runoff, I think you're going to see that the people with the most money got it wrong. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. And
in a small race that you're doing something local, money still matters, but you might see an occasional upset. Well, so-and-so I'll spend so-and-so 10 times. But that ain't the norm. So let's see how it breaks down. You know, it's still early. Early voting, people do stuff different early voting when they're voting the day of.
Right.
So we got to still wait and see how this breaks down. But, you know, right now, Cassie's got a shot to finish second. Letlow was, I think, in the 40s when I saw mid-40s.
She is. She's at 45% statewide right now, but that's we're talking about 2/3 worth of the early and absentee reporting, and we're talking about 4 precincts statewide reporting. So, yeah, she's at 45 right now.
Yeah.
Fleming's at 29, and Senator Cassidy is at 24, with 2% voting for Mark Spencer. So I'm not digging heels in yet on actual momentum.
I agree with you, Brian. I think what you got to do is just kind of wait.
Right.
It's a night that draws out. It's still early. The votes start coming in. But there's probably going to be a pattern and trend that you can see. Some people think, well, early voting's a good poll. You can read some of the early voting. I would agree with that. But you can't read all the early voting. You got to wait and see what happens because sometimes different people vote on I know people that only vote on election day. They do not vote for early voting. I do both. Sometimes I vote election day. Sometimes I vote early voting.
What now? We're going to get a little personal, Moon, and I'm not going to ask you who you voted for. That would not be a fair question. But what I am going to ask you is, did you early vote?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Now you are a no party candidate. So talk to me about process. Was the process difficult?
Okay.
Because I've been hearing all day long about people who had problems with process today.
Okay. First of all, I didn't vote today, so I don't really know. I heard some of that too. I'm gonna tell you exactly what happened with me. I walk in, I give them I swipe my driver's license, so they got my name. The lady walks over, grabs a sheet of paper. When she laid it down, I had a pen in my hand. Before she explained it to me, I checked Republican off and signed my name.
Yeah.
She went, I didn't even tell you what to do. I said, well, it's pretty simple. You got Democrat, Republican, no party. You got sign your name. And I said, I want to vote in the Republican primary. And I signed my name. 5 seconds. I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah.
5 seconds. And so then she did say, she said, well, Moon, you follow all this stuff. I said, well, I didn't know what I was going to be looking at when I came in here. And she said, but you followed people that don't follow it, start asking questions. And she did tell me that. She said, you'd be surprised at the questions we get. I said, this is pretty easy. If you're going to vote, if you're no party and you want to vote in a Republican primary, you check Republicans. If you're no party and you want to vote in a Democrat primary, you check it and you sign your name. That was it, Ron. But now I'm being told that it was a little different when you got in line today.
So
I thought it was going to be exactly like I went through. But apparently it wasn't.
It was my daughter's first time voting, and she is no party. So I could tell you from standing there while she was going through it, it was exactly the same. Exactly what you described is what she did today. Now, where the problem comes in. Oh, go ahead.
Where's the problem? That's what I was going to ask you.
Okay.
Where's the problem?
Where the problem comes in is when you have a poll worker who tries to over-explain it and somebody gets inside their own head. If that sheet was put in front of you and someone said, if you're a Republican, check Republican. If you're a Democrat, check Democrat. If you're no party, check no party. And then if you check no party, now you get an amendments-only ballot.
Yeah, but I didn't understand that because they didn't. And by the way, I went pretty quick, but I knew it going in because Nancy Landry had explained it on our radio program 2 or 3 times. They said if you want to vote in a Republican primary, they said you have to check Republican primary.
Yeah.
So when I saw it, the first thing I did was check it off and signed it. That was it. But I could, some people make things confusing too. I don't think it was that hard. Now, if you have a poll worker that doesn't know how to explain it, then that becomes a problem.
Right. And you then get inside your own head, having never done it before. But between those two things, I could seriously see some people, and I could say this because I've seen it on social media all day long. I've had people direct messaging me throughout the day. It's been a thing. And there's going to be more than a handful of people who are upset by it. My curiosity is how many? Like how many before it affects the actual election? Yeah.
Well, it's no doubt if people are upset about it and they had a problem, then you're going to hear a lot about it.
Yeah.
So since you heard about it today, I'm sure tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's going to be a big deal. But for me, it was easy. And Brian, I'm being honest with you, because I had heard about it so much, I kind of knew going in. Okay, so when they handed me the sheet, I saw Republican, Democrat. No, I just checked Republican and signed it. She literally told me, she said, "Wow, I didn't even explain it."
Right.
I said, well, I've been hearing about it for a while, but everybody hadn't heard about it, and so that's where it could be a problem. And you want people to vote, and you want it to be easy, and you want it to be quick. I get it, but sometimes it doesn't work that way.
He is Moon Griffon. You'll catch him 9 a.m. right here on Talk 107.3 FM, and of course everywhere statewide. By the time he hits the airwaves, all of the dust. Well, we're hoping all of the dust will have been settled, so he can kick it right back up again. Moon, I always appreciate you, brother.
All right, Brian. God bless. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. We'll talk to you soon. We're due up for another quick break here alongside Anna Johnson. Brian Haldane here with you. Cade Wassan producing. This is your closed party primary election coverage 2026.
Oh, come on, amendments. I don't know, this teacher pay raise. I'm a little surprised. I mean, it is.
I thought that was.
I thought it was going to be a hard no, but it looks like maybe Cameron Henry saying, like, don't ask us again. If you don't say yes this time, don't
why
ask
wouldn't the state
again.
legislature ever give them more money? Sorry to eat,
No.
no, I'm apologizing to the audience.
Oh, pff.
Jimmy, what's watching?
Oh,
Is it still 50-50 or is it split up?
It's 50-50. And now the yes votes are like inching. Oh, no, I'm lying. It's still 50-50.
Zach Kilshaw is calling in right now. We're in just a second.
Wait, what? How you spell his name, by the way?
Kilshaw. That's him.
Studio.
Do I need to plug up these headphones?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hey,
Just tell me
hang
where to
tight
plug
one
them in.
second. You right with the Epstein square? Is it Zach with an H or Zach with a K?
Yep. It was H. Sorry. I was just being an ass.
All right, where do I plug in at?
You said H.
Over there.
Oh, duh.
Yeah, the ACH.
Wow. Okay, just make sure I can hear. I'm gonna be really disappointed if the teacher pay raises don't come through. I mean, we need at least one yes,
I know.
Disappointed in 4. I mean, come on.
I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I mean, look, I always tell people vote for the policy, not the politician. Like, please, like, don't let your blind hatred for fill in the blank be the reason that you punish everybody else. I saw this comment the other day on Facebook. It said, nothing changes if nothing changes.
Correct.
I'm like, can we just rip the Band-Aid off? Thank you. Like, come on. Like, we've got to do something.
Hang on to that sentiment until the 45 segment.
Okay.
You and I can go back and forth on that.
Oh, let me refresh again. Okay, yours is looking good.
Yeah, he is.
Thought that one was going to be a
Mark
lot
Wright's looking
closer.
stronger than I thought too.
Yeah.
But
that one's gonna
Stephanie
be-
has to share her audience with John.
Yeah. I figured that one was
Oh,
gonna
by
be
the way, I
a
saw
runoff.
Christy in. Hey, my wife
Oh.
watching from Orange Beach. Breaking down election results. Hey, it's Hal Dane joining me on the show. Monday morning we will have. Ori says, "What you eating?" I'm having a Chick-fil-A sandwich.
Yeah, let me look at these comments.
Alan says, "As long as Cassidy comes third, that's all that matters." Alan, you don't even live here yet. You're not allowed to hate him until you move here. Rory. Oh, Rory Dennicola's in.
Yeah.
Hey. Kristen's in. Ori says the election workers were pleasantly surprised that I knew what I was doing when I filled out the form. Love that.
Yeah, this PSC race is going to be real tight.
District 1 or District 5?
District 1. the Bessie race too.
Yeah.
I know I don't know much about, I didn't really follow this one that closely, but I know John Schroeder was really on boots on the ground for Ellie, which I thought was very sweet.
Wow.
Which one? That could be for anything. What's a wow?
They're voting for the mayor of DeRitter today.
Oh, after the other one's in jail for her.
Oh my God, that was DeRitter, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was her. She had the one with the 6th grade boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
The hot
Right now,
blonde.
no party candidate Michael D. Harris is winning with 52% compared to Elmer Pee Wee Morrow's got 9%, and Danny Reynolds has 39%.
Oh my gosh! Come on.
You know, if my name was Michael
Exactly.
D. Harris and I was running against somebody named Pee Wee, I would call myself Michael Big D. Harris. That's. I know you are, but what am I?
Jim Inkster is already projecting amendments 1, 4, and 5 to fail. I mean, obviously. Let's see what yeah. Let's see what John Couvillon's saying.
It's amendment number 1. Numbers his middle name.
We have Andrew.
Keeping it moving on this closed primary election night alongside Anna Johnson, Cade Wassan producing. Brian Haldane here with you, walking you through election coverage for the next hour and a half. We are covering as much ground as we possibly can throughout the night. I want to bring you as many different voices as is humanly possible. So let's head right back to the phones real quick. Zach Kilshaw is a political consultant and owner of Echo Box Communications. He's on with us right now. Zach, how are you, man?
Doing well, Brian. How are you?
Doing very well. Anna hit me up today and said she was going to be a nervous ball of energy. So I said, come get in the studio and let's put that energy on the air.
I mean, I haven't slept in 2 days. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with my hands.
You don't know what to do with your hands. What do we wear in inclement weather? I don't know.
I mean, what's up, my friend?
Okay, let's start with the biggest question of the day, Zach, and that is how much have you heard about people having problems at the polls with the different closed system?
So substantial problems. I've been getting calls most of the day. A lot of them complaints, a lot of voter education issues, not fully understanding the closed primary system. So it's been interesting to say the least. Now, you know, obviously we're fully underway with early voting results coming in. I think we're at about 46 of 64 total parishes.
Mm-hmm.
And we're seeing a lot of sways. I mean, I know y'all mentioned the PSC race and John Young and Mark Wright neck and neck. And then watching, obviously the Senate race, Julia getting a pretty pronounced lead in the beginning. Not a shocker, based upon the polling results that I've seen, but I still think that bill's going to come back. So that's kind of my take as of right now.
So I tend to lean with you right there, Zach, because I never want to undercut the following things: incumbency, money,
Sure.
and hustle. And Senator Cassidy has all 3 of those things. I know there's super negative sentiment about him. I understand that. I get all the vitriol and everything. But I'm never going to underestimate the guy whose press office is putting out press releases from every parish around the state with projects coming to St. James, projects coming to Washita, projects, the money coming to the airport in Lake Charles. Like, no matter what it is, Senator Cassidy has been working for Louisiana and showing up in Louisiana to shake hands and kiss babies every time one of those projects comes across.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I can't discount that until further numbers are in. But as it stands right now, and once again, 48 of 64 parishes have their early and absentee voting in, and we're looking at all of 53 election day precincts reporting. And Letlow's got a 44% to 30% lead over John Fleming. Cassidy's in at 24 right now. So, by the way, Mark Spencer, I think your night is done.
Andrew,
Yeah.
what's your prediction for a runoff? I mean, let's assume that these numbers keep going the way that they're going, and it's Letlow and Fleming in a runoff. Where do Cassidy's voters go?
That's a great question, Anna. And so I honest to God, I think what you're going to see is a split. And it really just falls under how progressive of a Republican are they. So if they lean more towards a Reagan conservative, I think you're going to see that split of Cassidy's vote go over to the Fleming camp. And if they lean more to being a progressive conservative, I think they're going to lean more towards the side of Julia. So that would be my prediction if it's a runoff. Now, I still want to just reiterate to the audience that, you know, there has never been an incumbent in this seat that has not made a runoff. So this would be the first time in the history of this U.S. Senate seat that an incumbent didn't make a runoff. So it's hard for me, just being a data-driven guy, to believe that Bill's completely counted out on this.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that front for sure. Yeah.
You know, I'm also interested to see, I think just based upon the national temperament, what we're looking at with these constitutional amendments. My feeling is maybe one passes. Maybe teacher pay raises pass.
Yeah, we were just saying that. It's right at like 50-50 right now.
It's at a 49-51 split right now. It's the only one that's really within the margins right now. In fact, there's a couple of other election coverage places that have already called it for amendments number 1 and amendments number 1 and 4, which I'm not ruling out 4 yet. I would say 1 and 5 are probably both dead in the water already.
Right.
Do you think that there was more misinformation out there about these amendments? I mean, why do you think this one's
to the contrary? I think to your point, Anna, I think there was more money spent on negative than there was on perpetuating the actual vote for the amendments to pass. I saw more negative on St. George than I saw positive on St. George.
Same.
And so if you take the national temperament, you talk about the constitutional redistricting, I think that I think the optics are just not good for these to pass. They're getting tied to a Republican agenda that just statewide right now is somewhat being frowned upon, and nationally is being frowned upon big time. Frankly, I don't think that the governor's 60 Minutes interview did any favor for these amendments to pass. I think that's what
hang on. Hey, this is why I'm glad we got you on. Unpack how those two things go together.
So certainly, I think that there are agenda items within the administration that are tied to some of these constitutional amendments.
Mm-hmm.
And so mostly what I'm seeing on social media and when I'm talking to constituencies, it's all the same thing. Hey, if the governor's in support of this, we're not going to vote for it. And that's where you're finding that issue and that divide. So, you know, that's kind of my take on that side of it.
Yeah, they're holding these hostage. They're voting for the politician.
So
versus
literally
the merits of the
literally what we're looking at is a teacher pay raise versus screw Jeff Landry.
Correct.
Awesome. Way to go, Louisiana. Good stuff.
One step forward, 2 steps back.
Oh, man. Well, look, I appreciate you hopping on board for just a quick minute. Zach Kilshaw, always appreciate the time, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Andrew.
All right. Sounds great. Thank you.
All right. We're due up for a quick break. When we come back, I want to pick up where Zach left off right there, talking about the amendments and being collateral damage for Louisiana. I want to ask the following questions to Anna when we come back. Number one, if you can't figure out how to vote for Senate, how can you expect to understand what you're voting for in the amendments? Number two, why do we have such a want to say no across the board? And number three, how do you expect change when you've got that want? Coming right back after this. Never been given because it was 5650.
Is there a way to turn the volume down?
Yes, the knob over there. No, he's on what we call perma shout.
Yeah.
Gosh, I really hope the teacher pay raise thing comes through. I mean, that would be a win for Jeff for sure. I do think that I think Cameron, that article that came out this week with Cameron saying like, okay, if y'all don't vote for it this time, like don't come stick your hand out again. And like, I think that might have, and I think you also had like probably a small coalition or a large coalition of teachers who were voting yes on this and just not saying that publicly because they don't want to get attacked on social media. And I don't know that I blame them for that, but.
Well, this is the one I'm going to be looking at the most because with every refresh.
Me too. That's what I keep doing. I'm like, oh, I know. It's just so terrible. Like, come on, y'all. Yeah, it looks like the no margin is kind of. Julia's also losing a little bit of ground.
You hearing the spot? You heard a spot? Kill my mic. Kill all the mics real quick. Yes, we are. Alongside Anna Johnson, Brian Haldane here with you. Got our closed primary coverage coming your way or continuing right now. We're not done after this hour, though, y'all. We're going to keep it rolling all the way up until 10 o'clock. Well, I guess technically 9:56:50 if we really want to radio it out, which means that right now we have 7 minutes and 50 seconds before we break again. So, Anna, I want to dive back in. Yeah. Let's talk amendments for a second. We'll get back into the U.S. Senate race stuff to start off the next hour. But let's dive back in on the amendments. And there is an overwhelming sentiment. And when I say overwhelming, I probably mean 10 to 15% of the population. I just feel like that's too much. The number of people who say everything in Louisiana sucks, but I'm not going to vote to change it.
Yeah.
Like no matter what happens, I'm going to vote no. And then I'm going to complain about the way things are.
Yes.
I'm at a loss.
Look, there was a lady who commented on Facebook yesterday. She's like, I'm voting no on everything until the government does the will of the people. And I'm like, well, you're going to be waiting forever if you do that.
Hang on. The amendments are the will of the people. It's literally handed back to us.
I know. I'm like, y'all, we have to rip the Band-Aid off. Like, we have got to start doing stuff. You have to vote yes on something if you want to see change. And so, these collaterals, these amendments are collateral damage, I guess, I don't know. I don't know, Brian. I don't know how we move forward, but, we have a Republican majority in the legislature. We have a Republican governor. So if we want to do something, this is the time to do it. And a pretty huge
Republican populace, too.
Yes.
Which that's the part that baffles me. And I'm not the Republican that says all Republicans should be in lockstep with other Republicans. Okay?
No, I never say
God
that.
God knows I'm a Reagan Republican, which means I'm on an island so often. But
look, I get it. Like as a constituent, you should always question the government, but don't let your blind hatred of one or two individuals, make you hold businesses or other people hostage. Teachers don't deserve it. Businesses don't deserve it. I'm honestly surprised that Amendment 4, I'm like, come on, y'all. Like Republicans, y'all are voting no to get rid of a tax. Like this, it's so backwards. These elections are so backwards.
So the sentiment the anti-number 4 sentiment that I've heard, aside from the vote no for everything people, the anti-number 4 sentiment that I've heard is, why should businesses get a tax break when I don't?
They shouldn't. Why should we penalize them? That's a double-sided argument. Why do they get penalized?
That's because that's the proper answer, Anna. That is the exact right answer to return that with is, well, because the businesses are the ones that employ us. And if we want to have income tax, then my goodness, we need businesses, don't we? And every time we have inventory tax, all we're doing is propping up the economies of Mississippi, Texas, and Arkansas.
Exactly.
And it's just that simple. Now, I've also heard that there's some kind of back end on the inventory tax where you can get the refund, you get the money back, but it turns into this whole shell game where you have to file in order to, like, it's.
So if you remember at the end of 2024, when we had the tax special session, Governor Landry actually did away with that rebate. So it actually sunsets, I think, July 1st of this year. So companies aren't going to get that anymore. And so,
well, that's going to be a rude awakening, isn't it?
For all of us.
Okay.
So, again, like, this is where doing your research and homework comes in handy instead of just blindly trusting what AI says on Facebook. Ask somebody who knows about these things. Like, do your own research. I always tell people, if you're looking for like an independent political arm, like PAR is always a great resource.
Oh, I've got PAR open on my computer right now.
Yeah, I mean, they just give you the facts. That's it. And so, you gotta go touch grass sometimes, is what I tell people. Like, get off social media. It's just it's fantasy land. So, unfortunately, we're seeing what that does now. Just
kind of recap where we're at on the 6 amendments. Amendment number 1 changes the removal of positions in the unclassified state civil service by law. That one is dead in the water. That's a 77-23 split. We've got 53 of 64 parishes reporting their early and absentee, 410 precincts. I know that's a super small number overall, but I'm going to go ahead and call that one dead. That bad boy ain't coming back. Now, amendment number 2, this is the St. George Amendment. And honestly, I really do wish we were at a place in time where people could stop with their own opinion on St. George and just say they did what they were supposed to do.
Right.
They did what they were supposed to do. I feel like if St. George fails tonight, this is Charlie Bucket being told he stole fizzy lifting juice. He did what he was supposed to do. He went through the whole tour, and then Wonka's going to take it away from him?
Yep. And it's crazy. And like, this opens up a delta of a whole other slew of issues that are wrong with the state. The fact that the entire state gets to vote on this is madness to me. And so this opens up, discussions about having a constitutional convention.
Oh, get Dixon McMakin on the phone now.
I know. Come on, Dixon, call in. Like, I know, like, I cannot tell you the amount of questions and people who are like, what is this? A guy on my feet earlier was like, I'm voting in West Baton Rouge and there's an amendment about St. George. I don't even know what this is. And like, that's probably the sentiment around the state unless you live in the capital region.
And the secondary sentiment is what gets reported in the news about St. George being racist.
Right.
When it's a majority minority school district.
Right.
On day one, it will be a majority minority school district.
Exactly. But if I go back 10, 12 years and think about why St. George, the movement started in the first place. It 15. Was because of the schools.
It was 15.
15,
it was 15 years.
Come on.
And I know this because as we followed this along, the people who were looking for the Southeast East Baton Rouge Independent School District, if you had a kindergartner, then you are 1 year away from a college graduation. They weren't doing this for turned out they weren't doing this for their own kids. Yeah. They were doing this to change history. So any kind of selfish motivation you might have had on the originators, the founders of this whole thing, their kids are gone now, probably living in other states.
Yeah, and look, I think that Lamont Cole has been a great pick for superintendent.
He has.
And he's been actually very, I will say, like, independent of this whole situation. And I had no doubt that if this amendment passed, that he would have fixed everything. I mean, he's doing a great job right now. So I'm like, what, like, trust in your leadership.
Yes, Lamont Cole has been even keeled, or as
Yeah.
even keeled as an East Baton Rouge Parish school superintendent can be when it comes to St. George.
Yeah.
Okay, he's also shown results, and that EPR got a C. And when that on the hey, they got a C, and that's the best they've ever done.
Yeah, I know. I
best.
think he's doing great. Like
So,
I'm
yes.
seeing like
But-
huge strides from where we were. And so you know, I don't I guess I just maybe I live in a bubble. I don't know.
Well, I don't think it's a bubble. I think it's just one of those ones where we've seen what's possible. So St. George is losing 60-40. We've got 1 minute till break here. Let me run down the rest of them. Amendment number 3. Hey, maybe it's not just St. George for a school district. Maybe it's just an anti-school sentiment because teachers' pay raise is losing 54-46. Now, as I understand it, those who are opposed to this one say they don't like the fact that the trust funds are being drained. These are trust funds that are unbelievably difficult to tap into. Remember the tobacco settlement money that gets paid to us in perpetuity? It's unbelievably difficult to use any of it, but we could move all of it over and then just start replenishing with the new payments. Move all of it over, pay down debt, Dave Ramsey style, 1 to 4 on Talk 107.3. Pay down debt, Dave Ramsey style, and give our teachers a pay raise. These trust funds that have been around, 2 of them have been around since Miami Vice is on the air.
I know. I don't understand why people like if I got a chance to pay off my credit card debt and not have it like extend.
We got a break. I got to hop in. We got to get out.
Okay.
Coming right back alongside Anna Johnson, Brian Haldane here with you. We'll continue next.
Okay, wait. Is my mic still on?
For Facebook, yes. Unless
turn it off?
you want to. Shout out to whoever dug up the West Wing soundtrack. That's awesome. Closed party primary election night coverage here on Talk 107.3 FM. Alongside Anna Johnson, Brian here with you. Brian Haldane here with you. Kate Wazan producing. Got us for another hour here as we're breaking down the races as best we can. I'm watching this, Anna, and I'm starting to wonder how close we're going to be to done by 10 o'clock. Now, the 9 o'clock hour is always magic, right?
Yeah.
We always see chunks start to come in.
Yeah, this
around
is where
this
the
time.
mail-in ballots come.
But where I'm at right now, my big question is, because the Secretary of State's not going to be reporting on turnout yet.
Right. Well,
So, because we've got a whole different thing going on with closed primaries and signing the paper and doing it different now. So I'm hoping, because this is kind of an experiment for all of us here today. I'm hoping that results-wise, we'll get those big chunks this hour, just like we normally do.
right. Well, you know what? I think you're going to have some candidates that are going to be disappointed and some groups of folks around the state who are probably going to be disappointed in these results. But then you have amendments that are all probably going to fail. And so, I mean, you can't say that the ballots didn't work when they worked for a part of this for you, just not the other part. So.
Right. Well, and that's the part that I'm having trouble wrapping my head around.
I know.
It's because
Come on
everybody
now.
got to vote for the amendments. Even the people that had problems voting for a Senate race got to vote for the amendments.
Right.
And those are so far, I'm not seeing anything that's aside from just the resounding no's.
Yeah.
The people who hate the way things are and don't want to change them. It's amendment number 1 is losing 77-23. Now that particular amendment was one that wasn't pushed by a whole lot of people out there. You heard the state party every once in a while chime in on it, but it wasn't their lead. That wasn't their cleanup hitter.
Yeah, it wasn't. I think that was just kind of like a meh for everybody.
Right.
The ones that everybody were really talking about was 2, 3, and 4.
Right.
I really didn't hear anything about the judge amendment either. So, I mean, I don't know. I think the money was dumped into 2, 3, and 4.
So
Which are looking abysmal, by the way. So.
Once again, it's baffling that the entire state gets to vote on whether or not the folks of St. George can control their own destiny.
Yeah.
But 2 is losing 60% to 40%. Bear in mind, we're still looking at 56 of 64 parishes have reported their early and absentee voting. And as far as election day reporting is concerned, we're looking at 1,258 of the 3,722 precincts are out there. St. George is losing 60-40. Teachers are getting kicked in the butt, too. Teachers pay raise 55-45 right now. It's on the no side.
Yeah.
Offering the mere option for parishes to reduce or eliminate their inventory tax. Give it the option. Just the option.
And that was the word track that got lost in the messaging.
It did. 64-36 is the margin right there. That's a big no. And then amendment number 5, which I don't think anybody supported, and I know this isn't the first time it's been tried to run out there, but amendment number 5 would change the mandatory retirement age of judges from 70 to 75. That one's getting kicked in the tail, and I don't mind telling you, I don't like sharing what I voted for and what I didn't. I voted no on that one.
I voted no on that one too.
Because if you're 70 years old and you're a judge,
I know.
it's time to hang it up.
I'm already having brain fog at 40. I can't even imagine. I mean,
well, here's the thing. If you're 70 years old and you're a judge, what could possibly be your motivation to stay on?
Exactly. Like, go be a Walmart door greeter. Come on, y'all. Like,
you've been a judge. I know you're wearing a swimsuit under that robe. Hit the beach.
I know. Like, I'm sorry. Like, who's pushing this? I don't even know. I'm sorry. I'd fire my whole team. Like, this is just a waste.
Yeah. So that one is it looking like the mandatory retirement age of judges is going to hold at 70. I don't think it's too early to call that one. It's 75 to 25. I don't see that one making a comeback.
Yeah, and John Couvillon's also calling for Amendment 3 to fail. So
wow,
that was the only one that I thought might have a chance to live to fight another day. But here we are. So, come on, Louisiana, we got to do better. We really got to do better. The legislature's trying to give you tools and solutions. And I'm just disappointed that, we hold everybody hostage for whatever political agenda you might have. But, it's disappointing that, teachers and businesses are going to be collateral damage.
Promised an update on the Senate race as more numbers come in. 57 of 64 parishes with the early vote. 1,411 of 3,722 precincts are in. As it stands right now, Julia Letlow is maintaining a commanding lead at 45%. She's got 45% of the vote. compared to John Fleming at 29% and Bill Cassidy at 24%. Now, as I understand it, there is one. No, we're going to hold off on talking about that until we get more information because he works for a campaign.
Okay.
So, 45% for Julia Letlow right now. Mark Spencer still holding at 2% of the overall vote. Now, when you talk about those in percentages, that's one thing. When you talk about those in hard numbers, that is a roughly 33,000 vote lead for Julia Letlow over her next competitor. So if things play out the way they do, I think Julia Letlow has a Cadillac ride into the Senate.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think, oddly enough, I really thought this race was going to be like Bill, John, and Julia were all going to be like,
even
lingering.
30s.
Exactly.
Right.
And so this is a little surprising, but I think the attack ads on her, I will tell you where I think Bill and John went wrong is when they started attacking her fiance.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
I
yes.
saw so many women, surprisingly, who were so offended by that. And I was like, oh, okay. That was what did it all in. I mean, I'm not mad at it, but it was, kind
It's
of
out of
it was
bounds.
a little dirty.
It's very, especially
I thought so too. I mean, look, we all know how elections go. Everybody's going to take cheap shots at each other, but I mean, when was the last time you saw Kevin Ainsworth even walking around the Capitol? I haven't seen him in a year.
Hang on. Stop. This is how out of left field that is. Kevin Ainsworth is Julia Letlow's fiance. A lot of people don't even know that.
Right.
Like, so what? Like, why even bring him into the mix?
Right. I mean,
it was out of bounds and it was uncalled for.
It was,
but it was in response to Julia Letlow mentioning that John Fleming was on a lobby firm's payroll as well.
He said it. He said it on Walton and Johnson. He said, no. I think it was the debate on Moon Show. He said, I'm getting $1,000 from whatever firm. I don't even know the name of the firm.
Thought it was $45K a year.
Yeah. So I think they're, look, let's be real. I'm going to say the quiet part out loud. You can be an advisor, a consultant. It's whatever language you want to call it. You're a lobbyist. You're lobbying.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah.
Nobody's that foolish. So, I mean, look, good on her. I mean, that was a great thing to sniff out. But I mean, you never heard any of the other candidates taking shots at their spouses or kids. I think that's just an unspoken rule that you don't go below the belt. And so for them to kind of bring that out. But I mean, for me, like, all the candidates were so busy taking shots at each other. Like, I don't even know what their platforms are. What are you running on?
Right.
Like,
and that's one thing that if I want to be fair across the board, Julia Letlow probably could have afforded it. Well, it's hard to critique her right now at 44% of the vote.
Yeah.
But she ran on the Donald Trump endorsement more than anything else.
Well, but for me, it's like, like when you get to DC, what are you going to do for me?
Right.
And none of them talked about that. John Fleming talked about he was going to stop CCS. You're not going to stop CCS. Like the Trump doubled down on the 45Q and the big, beautiful bill.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how far that goes. Julia talked a little bit about stuff that she's already done. And then Bill's kind of did kind of the same thing. I mean, he's brought some infrastructure dollars back. And so, but what else? That's not what people care about. Like, lower my insurance, fix our roads, like make groceries affordable again. Those are the things that people care about. So, but I never heard anybody talk about that, to be fair, across the board. Like, none of them did. I just heard them taking cheap shots at each other. So,
All right. I need to apologize to everybody over the age of 70.
Why?
Because I said judges should retire at 70.
Oh,
I said, if you're still 70 and you haven't hung it up as a judge, that was not a shot at people turning 70 years old. That was not a shot at anybody over the age of 70. That was a shot at somebody. Oh, grab one. That's cool. That was not a shot at anybody over the age of 70. That was me saying that in that particular post, if you're still holding on to that job, there's likely something else going on as well. And there's a handful of judges around the state that make that very, very clear to a whole lot of people. And they're ruining it for the rest of the bunch.
Yeah.
That was the impetus behind that. So, all right, we got a break here real quick.
Okay.
It is 9:14. You are listening to closed primary election coverage on Talk 107.3 FM. Was that Corey? Oh, that's him. Try him again.
Who? Who's next?
Corey Dennis.
Oh, okay. Yeah, John Kubion's making some
Gotcha, loud and clear.
he's calling some things.
CORYDENNIS.
One R, one N.
I said yes, but if you apply the same to politicians, go home and be with them grandkids. Oh. Okay, let's do a refresh and see where we're at.
See with executive director. of the city.
I mean, Julia's like killing it.
She is.
These amendments are abysmal, though. Like, oh
Cassidy needs
man.
a 5% jump if he wants to stay alive.
Yeah, this so John Couvion is calling the race for Billy Burris.
So
He's calling the race. Fleming.
Couvillon's been handling all the polling for the Fleming campaign.
Really?
Yes.
Oh. He's calling Letlow and Fleming in a runoff.
yeah, no shit, he is. Like that.
And you know what's crazy? Is anything on? Well, not that it matters.
Really thought she was gonna. Well, I
Well,
guess.
her and Mark Wright are like neck and neck.
Okay. Well, I mean, so both her and John are Jefferson Parish, so
Yeah,
they kind of have to share the same pool.
yeah.
Mark's got the North Shore to himself.
I thought it was going to be Mark and Stephanie in the runoff, honestly.
Diving right back in on the coverage alongside Anna Johnson, Brian Haldane here with you. Kate Wasan producing. We got your closed party primary coverage continuing right now. We're going back to our phones. Corey Dennis is the executive director of the state GOP. He's on with us. How are you?
I'm great, Brian. How are y'all doing? Hey, Anna.
Hey, my friend, how are you?
Just glued to my phone and computer just like y'all are.
I mean,
Are you refreshing every 2 seconds?
I am. It's funny because the Secretary of State's website, it automatically refreshes, I think, every 2 minutes.
yes,
Yeah.
not
And
fast enough.
I never let it refresh for 2 minutes. I'm
Me either.
always, every 30 to 40 seconds, I'm looking at it.
Like Mark Zuckerberg at the end of the social network,
Exactly right.
just constantly hitting refresh. Corey, want to talk to you about a couple different things. We're going to get to the amendments in a minute because I know the state GOP was bullish on a few of them. But I want to start off with process, if we could. How much has the state GOP heard about people who are no party running into problems getting into the party primary?
So to my knowledge, we only had a handful of calls. I want to say less than 5. I think I only actually know of 2 confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
Was having some issues. I think one of them was essentially a misunderstanding between the voter, miscommunication between the voter and the poll worker, thinking that they wanted a no party ballot, and the voter saying, I'm registered no party. I have heard a little bit confusion with that, but I don't know. I haven't heard anything yet that's been a widespread issue, but you might know a little bit more than I have.
I've got a handful of them. I mean, it's an anecdotal number. It's definitely not a scientific number, but I've gotten a handful of them, and probably more than one handful, to be sure. So my curiosity is, like, if I've heard from a few, and you've heard from a few, and Anna's heard from a few, and Moon's heard from a few, and just moving it all around the state. At what point do we look at this and say did we screw something up, or like with messaging? And I consider myself part of the equation because I'm a member of the media. Storytelling and messaging is part of this job. So did we screw something up on messaging, or was this just something we were going to have to experience?
Look, it might be a little bit of both, right? I think, first time having a closed primary in a long time in Louisiana, then also, no party voters being able to pick and choose what primary they want to be involved in. I think it was can be confusing. I think there's definitely going to be some growing pains in that process, which I think that's part of it. I've also been told that, for example, if you're no party and went to vote today and picked the primary, you still saw the candidates of the other party, right? But you couldn't vote for them. And my understanding is that's a machine issue. And I know that Secretary Nancy Landry has been working really hard over the last couple of years to, again, make sure we have good, strong election integrity with our voter rolls and things of that nature. And I know next on her list is new voting machines. So I think some of that will be remedied with new voter machines. And I think it's a combination of, voters, especially no party, not exactly understanding what was going to happen when they went to the polls today, but also I think some of it's a little bit of a technology issue, and then also just a growing pains issue of this is a new process and people weren't used to it. I mean, we did I think we did a good job of talking about the closed primaries, but I think there's always going to be a set of voters, no matter what party you are, that hadn't paid attention or hadn't voted in maybe 2, 4, 6 years and are totally naive to the new voting process.
Yeah, I'm with you, and it's something that'll be unpacked in the weeks to come, to be sure. And there's this third part of this that I'm just a snob, Corey, but it's a closed party primary, and I'm a member of the party. I don't get to vote for Heisman. Like, don't ask to come vote in my primary if you're not a member of my party. The no party part of this thing, and I understand why we did it this way, but the no party part of this thing is where all the confusion's coming in.
Look, Brian, I don't disagree with you at all. The Republican Party has always supported closed party primaries, right? Where Democrats elect Democrats and Republicans elect Republicans. I think if you want to vote in one of those primaries, I think you should have to register as a member of that party.
Right.
If you remember, Julie Emerson, who authored the bill, who's now the governor's chief of staff, the original bill closed the primaries up and down the ballot, and it was just like that. Republicans vote Republicans, Democrats vote for Democrats. No party would vote in the general. Unfortunately, when it got over to the Senate, it got amended, and this is the situation we have now. But I 100% agree. I think membership has its privileges, and if you want to look, I don't think Republicans should vote for the Democratic nominee or vice versa. I just think if you want to participate in a party primary, that you should have to register as a member of that party. I think most people in the state would agree with that.
What? Now, okay, now I'm really going to confuse things because full disclosure, I'm a pro jungle primary guy. My whole take is if we're going to do this, let's do it. Don't split the baby here. That's where I'm at. We got Corey. Good.
I agree again. And the bill that Julie Emerson authored, I think within the first month of the new administration and group of legislators, that's the bill that she authored. Unfortunately, through that legislative process, as we all know, very rarely does a bill enter it and exit the exact same way. And
right. Well,
again,
true.
That's where we're at.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got Corey Dennis on with us. I want to move over to our constitutional amendments because, it's the theme of the night, Corey, has been, if you want change, you got to vote for change. And we have a lot of people complaining about the way things are in the state and are continuing to vote to keep them exactly the same. Walk me through a little bit about what you're seeing and what kind of reasoning have you heard behind the way the vote's going?
I haven't. I think it's going to take a while to do a little bit of an after-action report. After we get the full results from tonight. Same with some of those no-party voting issues. I think we're going to have to really get with the Secretary of State's office and kind of do an after-action to see kind of what the issues really were. With the amendments, I think I told you earlier this week on your show, I think for a long time people are programmed to just vote no on amendments, right?
Yep.
We talked about, why do we need so many amendments? Some would argue that we need a constitutional convention, which I'll remind your listeners tonight that we tried to have a constitutional convention not too long ago. So I think there's some confusion on that. People are programmed to just say no. I also think, as I mentioned before, there's a lot of liberal groups out there spending money trying to do protest votes against the governor or the attorney general, what have you. And, I think it's a combination of that. I think it's a combination of, frankly, look, I'm not afraid to be my own critic. Apparently, it looks like that, the party needs to do a better job of educating voters on why these were good amendments, why they were good government, good conservative amendments. It's not all Democrats, it looks like, unfortunately, voting no on these, and we need to find a better way to explain these amendments, or at least convince people our side of it.
Is there though? To be fair, Amendment 4, which Anna and I were both very much in favor of, you're very much in favor of. The description on it, the one-line description, to provide authority for a parish to classify and authorize exemptions relative to ad valorem taxes, that's not what it gives parishes more autonomy. That's what I'm looking for there. Allows parishes to be parishes, to control their own destiny. We can't get the fancy word, the colorful or flowery words in there, because it's got to be the legalese of it.
Well, and then the other thing, it's funny, Brian, because, last time we had amendments last year, the critique on the amendments was it was too much in one and people were confused, right? The legislature tried to simplify it this time. And now, I'm not blaming you, of course, but now it might be too simple, or because it was too short, it didn't adequately explain. So, I'm not sure there's a secret sauce to figure out how to explain these amendments. I think it does potentially, lead to a better reason to have a constitutional convention, which we tried to do about a year and a half ago.
Do you think the timing with everything that we had going on with redistricting played a part in this?
I think there's a part of it. I think if you look back at, especially with, I think Democratic turnout, right? I think I speak from, the Republican Party side of things. The last time we had amendments, the president had just gotten elected. There was anger against him because he was, the Trump derangement syndrome, if you will. This time around, the Supreme Court decision is very fresh. Brian, I don't need to rehash my distaste for how the liberals and Democrats in the legislature have treated my friends and colleagues in the Republican House and Senate.
Right.
But I think that's a part of it. Anger and fear drive people. Unfortunately, that's a good motivator these days. And Anna, to your point, I do think that was part of it. But again, we can't control when the Supreme Court makes a decision and things of that nature. So, these amendments were on the ballot months ago. And so you kind of have to play with the hand you're dealt.
Got Corey Dennis for just a couple more minutes with us. He's the executive director of the state Republican Party. Want to pivot over to Amendment number 3 here, Corey. And I fully believe this is not about effect. This is not even about the teachers that are involved. I believe Amendment number 3, which is currently losing 56-44. I believe that it was a full-on anti-Jeff Landry campaign to keep that from happening. I remember being at the inauguration, and I remember being surprised with how much of an emphasis the new governor was putting on education in the state, how much of an emphasis he was putting on teachers, how much of his own life has been molded by education, because, his mother was a teacher, if I'm not mistaken, or was it his grandmother? I'm trying to remember. The story about the girls' basketball coach. That
was his mother.
That was his mother. All right. So, but I walked away from that speech surprised with how heavy that was, because it was not that big on the campaign trail. And now he's got the job and he's got the microphone and he put that up first. The juxtaposition of next year's re-election campaign, seeing on screen inauguration speech, committing to teachers, seeing the results of this election, getting teachers a pay raise, promise made, promise delivered. I believe all the anti-Amendment 3 sentiment is an attempt to pull the rug out from under that for next year.
Look, I don't disagree at all. Look, I'll remind your listeners that both teacher unions endorsed Amendment 3. The chairman of the Democratic House Caucus and Senate Caucus endorsed Amendment 3. Several Democrat legislators endorsed Amendment 3. And then you have these, liberal, progressive, out-of-state, in my opinion, probably Soros-funded organizations telling people to vote no on these amendments, and they're telling them to vote directly against their interests,
Right.
their own interests. And, I would just remind folks that if the teachers don't end up getting these pay raises and they vote and you vote Democrat and are upset about it, it's the liberal Democrats that are pushing against this. I don't largely believe in protest votes. Look, Governor Landry's not on the ballot. Louisiana was on the ballot tonight.
Yep.
And if you're voting against your own interest to kind of stick it to someone else, I don't think that's the right thing to do. And again, but look, the governor and the administration has made really big strides in education. He just had an announcement earlier this week about how we're moving forward in reading. I think it's math. Again, that's another promise made and a promise kept. He's trying to, I said earlier this week, the governor and legislature, they're doing their job. It's our turn to help them and do our part. And if things continue to go like I think they're going the rest of the night, I don't think we did our part to support them.
You are so buttoned up and responsible. Wallow in the anger with me, Corey.
Look, it's late, Brian. I'm trying to be in my best behavior.
You are.
You're desensitized because
Hey,
you've been in politics.
Look, we
for
still got a
while.
long way to go on the night before the Senate race is in, but there's no way I don't have you on to just ask for your 10,000-foot view. I know the GOP has to sit out another round before we know who the nominee is, but are you seeing any surprises within the Senate race?
I'm not too surprised. I think, obviously, and I don't want to say too much before all the results are in.
1,000%. I don't want to put you in that position either.
Right, but I think we all knew, it's no secret that Senator Cassidy had issues going into this race to begin with. It is a little surprising to see an incumbent senator be in this position on election night. But I can't say that I'm too surprised about it. But I am happy to know that regardless of what happens in the Democratic primary, regardless of what happens in the Republican primary, in November, the state of Louisiana will send another strong Republican senator to D.C. to support the Trump agenda. So that's what I'm excited about. And again, trying to hold back on some of my other thoughts on the amendments and turnout and different things. I'm sure you'll have me back on after I've had time to process. But when it comes to the Senate race, we're excited as a state party to support our nominee and send the president another strong conservative. That's what we're going to focus on. I'm sure some people thought that we'd have a nominee tonight, but if you look at math and statistics, 3-4 people in the race, I think there was always going to be a runoff.
Oh no, totally. And look, as of right now, she's a heck of a lot closer than I would have projected. As of right now, Congresswoman Letlow is at 45%. I didn't see anybody getting out of the 30s.
I think that's a good point. I think it was. I think getting in the 40s is a little bit unexpected for some, depending on who you talk to. I also think whoever ends up in that third spot, whoever it might be, I think it's going to be really interesting to see whoever makes the runoff, how they go after those voters, right? That third place finisher is going to get, upwards of 20% of the vote, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting to see how those voters vote in a runoff and how those candidates try to earn favor with those folks. So that's the fun part of politics. Obviously we're neutral in all this, but you and I and Anna, we're Politico junkies, right?
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get into the numbers and kind of see where people can pull from and get a path to victory. So I'm excited to look at that over the next couple of weeks.
He is Corey Dennis, heads up the GOP here in Louisiana. Always appreciate the time, brother. You have a great night.
Thanks, Corey.
You too. Thanks for having me, guys.
Always. All right, we were way long for a break. We actually missed our news update with the specific numbers. So let me go ahead and give you those real quick. Do you have it recorded? Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take our break. Our good partners at Louisiana Radio Network. If you're on air, you're gonna hear this. Our good partners at Louisiana Radio Network have the latest numbers. We are going to recap those numbers when we come back as well. So you are listening to continuing coverage of closed primary elections 2026 on Talk 107.3.
I mean, Julia's doing great. I am surprised that Cassidy didn't pull more. I really thought this was going to be like a 30-30-30 split.
I'm baffled by it.
I guess that Trump endorsement did. You know, the Trump endorsement gets you at least 25%, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure how much more that would have gotten her over the hump, but I guess the silent majority turnout, which proves my theory correct, that like the Facebook noise is just a small group of loud people, not a big group of loud people.
Yeah, but that's why I thought Cassidy was going to do better.
No.
Because I thought the loud Fleming people were a smaller group.
Yeah. I could see that too.
Cassidy seemed more worried about Fleming than he did Julia.
No, the other way around.
It was the other way
the
around.
other way around, which is proving to be apt, by the way.
Well, I was reading a report earlier that was saying that Fleming spent more money in North Louisiana, which I thought was bizarre because I'm like, why? That's your area.
Fleming
They
had
already-
money?
Yeah.
I kind of took a shot at him on Newsmax. I did a couple hits on Newsmax this week.
I watched.
You watched?
I watched earlier, actually. I watched a little bit of the interview
the one this morning or the one from yesterday?
this morning.
Really?
Somebody posted something on Twitter. It was a clip.
It was that clip was from yesterday.
Okay.
I did
Yesterday.
another hit this morning.
Ah.
So
Well, his early campaign ads were how about like he was like tight with money, you know, because he was the secretary and all that stuff like that.
what, Fleming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
oddly enough, he didn't have money.
so in the one that Anna watched,
Mhm.
The host mentioned, one of the hosts or one of the anchors mentioned,
Todd?
no, this is Newsmax 1, not Newsmax 2.
Oh, okay, real news.
Yeah. Talk about Todd Starnes.
Real new.
Who, by the way, I do not hate him at all. He and I were talking on the phone the other day. He was trying to get me on about the mall shooting.
Right, yeah, it just didn't work.
Yeah. Anyway, was talking. One of the anchors said something to the effect of John Fleming, who self-funded his campaign, and I said, I got a number of those emails asking for donations. I don't know when he pivoted that to self-funding, which is a fancy way of saying nobody gave you money.
Speaking of emails, for a primary election and not in a midterm thing and not like a race where it's November, it's Tuesday, and there's governors and presidents, I've gotten more texts today and yesterday than
Me
I've ever
too.
had in any other election.
Let's talk about that when we come back. And you chime in on this. All three of us talk on this next
Yeah.
segment.
I got up until about 8 o'clock. I got 2 or 3 more.
Yeah.
And it was from no matter what spam I assigned it to.
No matter, you're like, where can I unsubscribe, please?
Yeah, there was
I
no,
need
like,
y'all to
stop.
know nobody ever changed my vote by sending me a text message. Instead, you've annoyed me
Like, I
even
was about
more.
to walk in and I got the message and I stopped and was like, oh shit, you're right.
Julie O'Donoghue just tweeted that they're playing Friends in Low Places at Cassidy's party.
So she's criticizing the DJ,
No, I think she's
looking for
like laughing at him, like, because he's poking fun at himself. I assume he will probably concede at some point, which is
don't.
which
I wouldn't.
He was at like what 28, 25?
It's 28, 24
yeah,
right now.
see, yeah,
He's down by 4 points. And there's 1,000 precincts to go, or 900 precincts to go.
yeah.
4 parishes to go with the early voting. So I wouldn't hand it in if I was him yet. And let's see about those early voting results. No, so he won East Baton Parish.
Really? Yeah. Hold on. Let me look at that. We need to dig into those numbers. Let's see.
We're not gonna have total time.
Do you have anybody else calling in?
I just texted Matt to see if Julia can come on. See, he finished strong second at St. John the Baptist.
10:15 a.m., 2:01 p.m., 2:13 p.m.
Let me see how Livingston voted on
He
these.
finished second in St. James Parish. I'm looking up and down the river because whenever you see the press releases come from him, he's wearing a hard hat and everything.
I mean, look, you
Like,
got tailored to your audience.
I know.
Dang. Livingston on Amendment 3 was 50-50 split. Dang. And actually, the yeses were a little inch ahead.
Right now, St. George is 63-37. I had predicted 62-38 would be the final score.
Let's look at.
Holly Market said that?
I know. I was going to say, was it Poly Market or
No, that was Brian Market. I predicted 62-38.
Let's see.
Cal Heath.
Let's look at
Cal them.
Vernon Parish and see. Vernon Parish was 49%. John Fleming.
It's the same as saying there are 49 people for him too.
Let's see where
Oh,
they
we did a
were.
bit on the Mayor of the Ritter.
So, we gotta get.
Here's where we stand right now. Oh, Brian Haldane here with you, Anna Johnson alongside there, and Cade Wassan producing. And we're actually going to pivot in a minute and talk about something that's probably been bothering all of us in the state in a little bit. But here's where we stand right now statewide. Okay. On the Democrat side, important to remember, by the way, this is not a Republican show. All the talk has been about the Republican Party because that's where all the heat has been.
Yeah.
As it stands right now, Jamie Davis is within 2 points of not needing a runoff.
Yeah.
Jamie Davis has 48% of the vote right there. Gary Crockett is technically in second with 26% of the vote. Also with 26% is Nick Albaris. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Gary Crockett has an 800 vote lead.
Yeah. I wasn't really paying attention to this race, but the only candidate that I remember looking up was Nicholas, and only because he testified in the redistricting stuff last Friday, and he said, I'm a candidate for U.S. Senator. And I was like, oh, wait, hold on. Let me look him up. So,
Okay. Well, he's got
and then, of course,
65,520 people in his corner.
Yeah. And then, of course, he showed up in my Facebook algorithm as people you may know.
I hate that so much.
Those pesky phones. Yeah.
All right. Meanwhile, Congresswoman Julia Letlow holding at 45% of the vote. She's been around 44, 45 all night long. Second place, the race is tightening up a little bit, but John Fleming does still have a 3% lead for second place, 28-25 right now. Who's going to finish second right there? That is now tightened down to 28-25. It's a matter of 12,060 votes.
Yeah.
That's the difference between the two right there. 12,060 votes. Worth noting, we're still looking at about 600 or so precincts need to report, and 3 parishes still have to report their early voting before it's all said and done. Your scorecard on the amendments is going like this. Amendment number 1, it's dead in the water. 78-22 is the breakdown. Amendment number 2, this is the St. George Community School District. Right now it's 63-37. I had actually predicted 62-38. And I'm pretty close right there. By the way, can Ascension Parish just keep on winning? I mean, first you get Hyundai, and then you get CF Industries, and now disgruntled people in St. George can just hop across the parish line and move there.
Oh my god!
These are the repercussions when you see things like this happen.
Yeah.
So,
yep. And
for sale signs in Shenandoah, that's what we're looking at.
Yeah.
All right. Amendment number 3, 58-42. We are saying no to teachers' pay raises. Amendment number 4 is 66-34. We are saying no to allowing individual parishes to determine their own destiny when it comes to inventory tax. And amendment number 5 is a big no, 76-24, to not move the age of judges up, mandatory retirement age from 70 to 75.
Yeah, I mean, no big surprises here. I think you saw the Democrats kind of mobilize for this election, and I think it was personal for a lot of people.
These numbers are more than just Democrats, though, Anna.
I know.
We have a majority of everything on the Republican side. So when you see, how about this? Let's just take the teachers amendment, right? Amendment number 3 for teachers' pay raises.
Yeah.
Okay, a total of 291,406 people have voted for U.S. Senator on the Democratic Party, right?
Yep.
That's the total right now. The number of people who voted against amendment number 3 right now is at 404,873.
Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
Maybe Republicans have to do a better job of explaining these things and way far
Mhm.
in advance, because I think there was just so much information out there. And it's crazy to me that around election time, everybody on my Facebook feed suddenly becomes a politician, a geologist, an engineer, a constitution expert. And I'm just, it's so cringy sometimes. But you know, the part that's going to annoy me even more is after this at 10 o'clock, you're going to see so many posts that are going to be so happy these amendments failed. And it's like, are you proud of that?
Proud of not giving teachers pay raise.
Are you proud
You're
of
standing
like
up to say,
not,
yeah.
like not trying to get rid of like taxes
So,
on business, like
dunking
you
on
guys are
people in
proud of
St.
that?
George who have dedicated their lives to their own
Right.
destiny. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it.
It's so disheartening.
It
'Cause,
is.
You know, we've got to do something.
Well, and the negativity has prevailed. The negativity has been out in front. In fact, we were talking to a break. Kate, hop on your mic here real quick, man, because
Sure.
this is something we were talking about during the break that I think is bigger than some of the numbers. My text has been blowing up today.
Lots of text today.
Not for people I know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it has been for people I know,
Yeah.
but like with random numbers talking about all the negative items in this race. For example, I'll just open this one right here. Rhino Bill Cassidy joined with Democrats to vote to impeach President Trump.
Oh, I didn't get that one.
Good news. You have until 8 p.m. today to head to your local voting location and hold Rhino Bill Cassidy accountable.
Are you on the Rhino checklist?
I'm probably. How about
Has a text message really ever
so
changed somebody's vote? I
around
really
10
want to
a.m.
know.
this morning, and then I got 2 in the 2 p.m. hour.
yeah.
I know that they're all very timely. Like there was one close to when the polls closed. So all of these are coming out pretty strategic. But I was telling you and Anna in the break, I feel like I've received more text as far as election.
A means of communication, yes.
Than any other, not even midterm. I got a piece of paper in the mail from the Democratic Party Friday, which is fine, not Democratic, Republican, whatever. But I got very few mailers. I got more spam calls or texts than anything ever.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
more mailers than
Yeah.
more texts than mailers this year, to be absolutely sure. New message for here's another one. New message for President Trump. Election day is Saturday. No, I'm not gonna do it. Election day Saturday, May 16th. Vote for Julia Letlow. She has my complete and total endorsement. We'll never let you down. Brian, will you join President Trump? They got my
Is
name
that-
in this one.
Is that the one where he
Alright.
personally sent you a video?
No.
Because he
this is
took the
not-
time to
Oh,
personally
no.
send me a video, so I was very grateful for that.
This
It's-
AI stuff is
he's got a lot of
really
stuff
getting
going
out of
on,
hand.
but
Donald
he
Trump.
made point,
He stopped what he was doing to send Kate Wassan a personal video.
which I gotta appreciate. There's a lot-
Same.
he's a lot on the
Points
plate.
for creativity,
Yeah.
to be
I'm
sure.
saving it
Right off Air
forever.
Force One onto the video.
Now,
Oh
here's
my
the thing: every one of these texts at the bottom says "press stop" to discontinue, and I don't.
But you know
'Cause
what?
I love
It's
the train
because
wreck.
every time you hit opt out, then they send you another text message just confirming that you've opt out. I'm like, stop, it's enough. Like, you know what else is crazy? You know what else I saw for this election too? Is how much Trump mobilized like these social media influencers, like big names on Twitter that were tweeting about this race, which I thought was so bizarre.
Yeah,
You know, you people from his staff and you know all the people that got like the binders of the Epstein files, you know, like the people that have the high follower count. I thought that was a little crazy. So he must have sent up the bat signal and you know, gotten Julia to the finish
Totally.
line, I guess.
You know what? We need to check in on the state Supreme Court race. We have not done that.
They've called it for Burris.
Really?
Yeah.
Called it for Burris.
They have called it for Burris. which,
Interesting. I hadn't even refreshed that. And let's see. Oh, there it is right there. 58-42
Yeah.
with only 13 precincts left to go. So yeah, that's a call right there for sure.
Yeah.
A 10,190 vote lead.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I'm
Billy
not
Burris
too
gets the win.
surprised there. Yeah, he got some really, really big endorsements, and I thought this race might be a little tighter, but not surprised that he actually came out victorious there. So
With other news and headlines surrounding the other candidate, I don't know that was going to be the easiest up. She had an uphill battle. Let's just put it that way. We've got a
Yeah.
break real quick. We'll come back. Some loose items, some news and notes. We'll clean some stuff up before we get out of here. You're listening to the continuing coverage of the 2026 closed party primary on Talk 107.3.
Yeah, they're calling it for hold on, let me see what else they've called. Let's see. Okay, I gotta look at Cuvion's spreadsheet and see. Alexandria, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Lake Charles, Monroe. Oh, these amendments are abysmal. It looks like Joe Stagney won his council race.
Oh.
Yeah, he took some hits down there. They were putting all kinds of crazy videos out about him.
So
Senate President Cameron Henry's at Bill Cassidy's party. Interesting.
is there no amendments on November 3rd?
Don't know yet.
There could potentially be others.
Yeah, it could be.
Because obviously they don't carry over anything. It's just a yes or no.
No. Now on the June ballot, we're going to have Council on Aging and cats and the library and
Like the library with Miss Alpazan?
huh? No, that's the school library. Nor is it the library with Plackey because that's the state library.
Yeah, John Cuvion is also calling the race for Joe Stagney and Kenner. Yeah. Okay. So he's also saying that Republicans, 292,000 showed up to vote. Democrats, 223,000. So about 57 to 43%. Okay. That's about right.
Oof.
A little surprised at some of these numbers, but look, I just want to see what Trump's going to be tweeting later because you know he's going to be tweeting out some crazy stuff. And I'm going to just be refreshing. Yeah, Devontae Lewis is tweeting that there was chaos and confusion. So that tracks with kind of what y'all were saying earlier.
Yeah, we got all the 3 minutes here.
Okay.
So as we understand it, Senator Cassidy's going to be conceding any moment now. The numbers have not gotten better for him. We are looking at just shy of 400 precincts still haven't reported. His percentages remaining the same. He's still holding at 25% right now, but that gap between he and John Fleming for second place has grown by another 1,000 votes. So with 3,332 of 3,722 precincts reporting, John Fleming has 103,701 votes to Senator Cassidy's 90,357. It's 3 percentage points, but that's a big 3% that he would have to make up. So it's looking like it's going to be a Letlow Fleming runoff, which is historical.
Yeah.
I mean, to not
for an
have
incumbent not
right,
to be in the runoff.
for an incumbent not to be the runoff, completely.
But
also
that just goes to like how much control Trump has too. I will say that's
so
kind of powerful.
that is going to be part of it, and I think that's going to be the biggest part of the discussion moving forward.
Yeah.
If I'm John Fleming, I wake up tomorrow saying I'm here to serve Louisiana. She's here to serve Donald Trump. That is the talking point for the next month if I'm him. And if I'm Julia Letlow, I'm here to say I'm here to serve Louisiana, and Donald Trump has my back while I do it.
Yeah.
And that's going to be your battle between those two moving forward. A couple of quick races we wanted to touch on. Public Service Commission, we haven't mentioned at all tonight, but District 1 of the Public Service Commission has some repercussions for us here in Baton Rouge. As it stands right now, John Young has 31% of the vote. He looks like he's going to be in the runoff. Stephanie Hilferty has passed up Mark Wright in this race for second place.
Yeah.
She's at 27%. Mark Wright is at 24%. For those of y'all that don't know, both of them are in the state house. They're both state representatives. So it's looking like well, Hilferty said she was stepping down anyway, right?
Yeah, she did.
Okay. Now Mark Wright from Covington, the beautiful heaven of Covington,
Yes.
is if he ends up in that runoff, that might play differently, but he's down by 3 percentage points right now too. So I don't see that one making a comeback.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy is I didn't really see a lot of ads for John Young. So, and I thought Stephanie Hilferty had a pretty good war chest behind her. And she had some money coming in from out of state too. So not too surprised to see her kind of land in second, but not behind Mark Wright. That's kind of a little shock to me. So yeah, this one was kind of a wild card. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'll be curious to see how this plays out.
Meanwhile, and I know we haven't talked about it tonight, and I apologize to all of our listeners for not giving this race any attention at all, but it looks like Michael D. Harris is going to be the mayor of DeRidder. He beat Elmer Pee Wee Moreau and Danny Reynolds.
But only because their former mayor is in prison for dating a sixth grader.
Dating a sixth grader.
I mean, she was.
It's DeRidder. I was shocked to know that DeRidder even voted for mayor.
All 300 people. I'm just kidding. It's a great.
Yeah, I want to say it was close to 1,900 showed out total.
Oh,
all right, we got to get out of here, y'all. It's we're just about done. Once again, all 6 amendments look like they're failing. There's if they haven't all been called yet, they will in the very near future. We're looking at a Letlow Fleming runoff on the Senate side. Anna, thank you so much for sitting in tonight.
Thanks for having me.
A lot of fun. We got out a lot of information in a very short period of time. Kate Wassan, thanks for running things flawlessly over on your end as well. We will be back at it 6 a.m. Monday. I have so many notes to unpack. We'll see you then. All right, Facebook.
Yeah.
I just got invited to Letlow's party.